Good morning, Marty. It's Friday, brother. Boom. Oh, that's okay. That means you're an active young man. That means people want to get a hold of you, Marty, on a Friday. Boom. Oh, hey, I'm excited. We got somebody making his absolute debut. His first podcast, first live show. Guy's never stepped in front of a camera before to do this. Robert Coe, Marty's joining us all the way from across the phone to London. So Rob's joining us here in a few moments. Rob, I had you on the camera there for a few moments. I hit the wrong button. So Rob's joining us here in a few moments, Marty. He is a sales dude, sales expert, entrepreneur expert. We're talking today, Marty, how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. And then we're going to kick into the second half topic of how to start your day like a startup entrepreneur. And of course, Robert Coe is making his first guest appearance on any show, Marty, ever. Dude, ever. And he shows us.
What an honor.
And you know what? I got to tell you, man, I know I speak behalf of you and me, but I feel very fortunate. We've had a lot of people knocking on our doors saying, hey, can we be on the show? First timers and so forth. And it's been great. We got somebody joining us from the future next week.
No way.
And not just Enzo. Enzo's joining us here right now. Enzo is back. Hey, Nation, I want to give you guys all a heads up here. Enzo, if you could go and subscribe over to the Mornings in the Lab channel as well. I know you found us on Keith in the Lab. Anybody on the Keith in the Lab live stream, I want to invite you all to also go over to Mornings in the Lab on YouTube. Mornings in the Lab. Click on subscribe. That's our vertical stream. Numbers are going through the roof over there. Eventually, guys, we're really going to be moving most of our attention over there. He's giving us some good mornings, and I will absolutely accept the group chat invite, Enzo. Thank you very much for that. But Marty, somebody named Gareth from Australia. He's a cyclist, CEO, AI expert, knocked on the door yesterday. He's like, hey, I saw some great stuff you and Marty are doing on the show. Can I be on it? I was like,
absolutely.
No. I said no.
You didn't say no. For you to say no, that person has to be weird stuff. For you to say no.
Thanks, Enzo, for subscribing. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thanks, Jimmy, for the heads up regarding everything looking good there on the platform. Of course, we got the accountability check-in coming up. We get the Seamarty Fit tip of the day. But Marty, before we introduce Robert Coe here in about a minute. So Coe, get yourself ready, man. You're coming up here very shortly, pal. I know you can hear us. Marty, dude. Our YouTube number is going through the roof yesterday again. Nation, you guys are coming out to support Keith and Seamarty, and we are extremely boom grateful for that. Marty, I got to tell you, man, when people are stumbling upon our content, they're sticking around for 12 to 17 minutes.
We got some good topics, man. We're funny. We got great guests. I think it's the best show on LinkedIn, something like that.
Best show on LinkedIn, best show on
I think it's
YouTube,
something like that.
Best show on Instagram, the best morning show. Dude, I was in bed last night, and I was actually in bed. And my friend Dale Weiss, you've met Dale before. He's one of my original BAPLs, actually, former NHL guy, Winnipeg guy. He's a good friend of mine. I'll introduce you guys coming up here soon. He sees all of our content. So I'm in bed last night, and I see my Instagram thing pop up, and he's like, hey, you want to come join me for a live chat? I'm like, okay. So get into the bathroom, just get all dressed. And stepped out onto the patio there and did a live stream last night about 10:30, Marty, and got a bunch of new followers last night promoting our show.
On LinkedIn?
No, it was on Instagram last night.
Instagram.
Yeah, did an IG.
I missed that one.
Yeah, so it wasn't under mine. It was under Dale Weiss's, but I jumped on there last minute and added a bunch of subs, which was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun last week.
That's what's up.
Yeah, good conversation with Dale. So if you're listening right now, I invite you to subscribe to Mornings in the Lab on the YouTube channel. Marty was active on Threads yesterday. Come check out our Threads, the Threads channel as well. We got just growing everywhere.
X.
100%. Jimmy, I don't think I have an issue here. Do you have an issue? I'm not sure. But Enzo coming up here. Oh, there you go. I told Marty the past news I needed that 90 Oura ring status to do snowboarding in bed like at 9 p.m. and waking up at 6. That's Enzo, it, man. That is it, Enzo. Enzo's rocking and rolling here today. So, hey, why don't we, without further ado, do people still say that anymore, Marty?
You must be Chat GPT right now.
No, I didn't say Realm. We're not playing World of Warcraft. Let's bring the energy down And let's invite the place for firsts, the Business Athlete Performance Lab, even first appearances. This young man making his debut appearance, never been on a podcast show, 25 years of experience building marketing platforms. He's co-founded over 40 of them, Marty. 40 of them.
Sheesh.
Dude, the dude's all over LinkedIn. He's the Jedi. This young man jumping into the lab right now, Marty. I'm gonna get the button ready, man. I'm gonna get the button ready. Jimmy, I got the vertical stream, man. Jimmy, you got to get the horizontal ready for this guy. Joining us in the lab right now, the LinkedIn shedder of life, Robert Coe.
Can you hear me good?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear.
How are you guys doing?
Dude, we're awesome, man. Exceptionally excited to see you in the lab today. I know we've been chitter-chattering, gathering on LinkedIn over the last number of months. Purely enjoyed your content. I love your sense of humor.
Thanks,
I love what you do on the platform there. And as Marty said, we're extremely flattered that you decided to join us here on the show for your first appearance, man.
That's all right, mate. I'm pleased to be here, to be honest with you, dude. This last 11 months on LinkedIn has been like a whirlwind. It is one crazy place. It is a proper crazy place.
There's Brooke Swadar joining us. Good morning. Good morning, Brooke. Nice camera.
What's up, Brooke?
Nice camera, by the way. I'm feeling a little 4K envious.
How can you not? I don't think this is 4K. I think I'm 1080p.
You're 1080p. I'm 1080p. But Brooke launched a new camera yesterday, and she's like spitting out the 4K content.
I need to step it up. I know this can do 4K, but I just didn't put it on that setting yet.
Got
How are you guys doing, man? It's good to speak to you.
Yeah, I got 4K envy. We can't stream 4K, so we got to hang on 1080p here.
Enough.
Alan Shearer, yes, it's exactly. Yeah. It is Alan Shearer joining us in the lab.
All sorts, mate.
Robert, I'm awesome, man. I'm exceptional. It's a Friday today here in it's Friday everywhere except in Enzo's world where it's Saturday, but I guess it's the American Canadian long weekend. You guys got some new government over there. I know we don't talk politics in the show here, but you guys got new government over there, Robert.
We have got a new government. I won't get political because I can't stand two-party politics, man. It is so tribal and it's so negative, and everyone's just nasty to each other. How we've not found a better system than two-party politics in 300 years is beyond me.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's madness, man.
It is madness. So,
it's madness.
Rob, you're the LinkedIn shedder alike. You're a Jedi. You've been around. You've done a few things. You've co-founded maybe a couple of companies, as Marty and I joked about.
Two. So just to give you a heads up, two of the companies I founded on my own, Robert Coe and Bilous. I launched 25 to 35. There's about 30 of them left platforms in the UK, which are business-to-business platforms over the last sort of 25 years. And I've trained probably 200-300 sales agents, I guess, in that time. So really, sales is a big part of my life. It always has been.
So what moved you into the world of sales, and why sales, and how did you drive that career with sales?
It's a weird one, actually. When I was 16, I left school. I didn't go college, didn't go university. I left school and I started working at London Stansted Airport. And at 16, my first job was to charter private helicopters and aircraft to very rich people from the Middle East. And people used to come to London and go to the horse tracks. And I was put on the phone within a week or two of being there. They obviously see that I could speak. So it was like sink or swim. So I was talking to guys worth an awful lot of money at 16 years of age, trying to sell them private trips on helicopters and aircraft. And that was how it began.
And then you found yourself having a skill for sales and communicating. Because, again, I watch your interaction on LinkedIn. On the face of it, you're a great communicator. And sales is about communicating. So was that something you found you were good at? And you're like, hey, I'm pretty good at communicating. I can put some words together and I can convince people to give me their wallet.
Yeah, I've got opinions that there are natural salespeople. There are definitely natural salespeople. But what I don't buy into the whole thing that everyone can sell. I think everybody can sell. Like literally every person has it in them to sell. I was a natural, and I can teach people technique and things to say and objection handling. But I've not found anyone that can't sell yet in 30 years. I think everyone has got it in them to sell.
Marty.
Yeah.
Rob, talk about the mindset that's needed for sales. A lot of people get in the game, they get a couple rejections, and it's, I'm good.
Yeah. So sales is a weird one because it's like people don't understand how important sales is to a business. So you get LinkedIn is actually, it's a nightmare for it. I see it all the time. Guys set up really good businesses, but sales is an afterthought. If they set up a business based on a really good service and think, oh, I've got everything set. I've got my website set up, my landing page. I've got this awesome offer. But then it comes down to selling it. Everything comes down to sales. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Everything comes down to sales. So immersion is the answer. You've just got to do it, and you've got to keep doing it and keep doing it and deal with rejection and learn from it. Because I compare it actually to, because you're obviously into fitness, Marty, and I think to a business, sales is protein to fitness.
Yep.
If you want to have a successful business, you've got to sell well, and you've got to work on your sales muscle. You've got to basically make that work, because that is literally, it's protein to a business. Sales, it's everything. People sell funnels and systems and processes, and most of the time it's a bit of a pipe dream. People want to set up a business and have the phone ring off the hook or get loads of inquiries come in. But you got to knock on doors. You just got to knock on doors and approach people and DM and email and work on that muscle. It does take practice, but it can be done. Everyone can sell.
Rob, what do you hate about sales?
Man, this is going to sound really cheesy, but I don't hate anything about sales. I've never had a problem with objection. So if someone objects, I never kill a lead. So if someone says no to me, I don't consider that dead. I consider that in the future. Yeah. So I'll always leave on good terms. You must leave on good terms, because then if I say to someone, look, I know this isn't right for you now. Do you mind if I touch base in 6 months and see what you're up to? And they say, yeah, of course. That's fine, Rob. No problem. You're not killing the lead. An angry salesperson is going to struggle, because they're going to start taking objections and making it personal. And it's not personal, man. It's just business half the time.
It's actually accepting, Rob, when you're in sales, that more often than not, you're going to be rejected. And I know that's a very obvious statement, but it's that emotional acceptance of that, isn't it? Just knowing that every single day, more people than not are going to say no. Yeah. Living with that, accepting that, and recognizing that when somebody says yes, you celebrate.
Yeah, I read an article once that said the failure rate in life, in general, not just sales, like the failure rate in life is 90%, which means 9 times out of 10, when you're trying to do something new or you're trying to learn, you'll trip over, you'll fail a lot. And sales, we know this with startups, because startups struggle. They really struggle. I don't think there are bad businesses. I just think people give up. People get rejected a few times and they just give up. You've got to get through that 10%. If you're closing 10% of your leads, most people will only make 10 phone calls or 10 outbound pitches a day. I'd rather speak to someone that's making 100 outbound pitches a day and getting 90 no's, but 10 yeses, because that person's got drive. That person's dealing with the sand being kicked in my face and the rejection. And I'm just going to keep pushing through and pushing through. They're the ones that make their businesses work.
Yeah, that's exceptional. Jimmy, we're going to move into the next segment here, because Rob brought up the key word. Marty, I don't know if we're going to invite him back. I don't know. Failure. Not feedback. Failure. Most of us fear it, but it's the best teacher. Failure equals feedback. When you fail, you learn. When you fail, you learn what doesn't work. You get better every single time, and there's absolutely zero shame in that. Embrace the process, Business Athlete Nation. Embrace the idea of failure. When you do that, the journey is so much more valuable than the outcome. And that's where the other F word happens. That's where the fun begins. Because success, I can tell you myself, and I know Marty can tell you himself as well. Success, it just doesn't happen, and it doesn't exist without failure. Success isn't avoiding failure. It's persisting despite it. So, as we continue the dialogue, introducing the next F word, let's not avoid fear. Because fear, you're going to regret it more than failure. Failure, I'm telling you, it's only temporary. Regret, one more F, regrets forever. So, chase that audacious goal. I'm telling you, it's worth every risk. Never feel the failure. Welcome it, learn from it. And nation, on a Friday, use that failure to grow. There you go. There's your accountability check-in this morning. And I'm really happy that Rob just dropped it with the F-bomb, Marty. And he had no idea that we were going to introduce a whole diatribe of F words like failure and feedback and fear and all those other words that come up with the word F. But Marty and Rob, F is a big part of the sales alphabet, isn't it? Because you can fear a call, you can have failure along the way, you're going to get feedback. It's just the F is like the biggest letter in the salesperson's handbook.
And you might say the actual F word.
So when he said that just now, I had to check myself. I'm like, did I drop an F-bomb just then? I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't.
And he's a pro.
I thought, did I? Maybe
I
I
love
did.
it.
I don't know.
Rob's like, my first appearance, and I'm already dropping
exactly.
F-bombs on the show, these boys.
For breakfast show.
All right, Marty, Rob, let's go to our key topic for today, how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. And you ever feel, and Rob, when you're talking to your clients, you're talking to people you're working with, your agents, do people ever feel like they're that crowded face in a world of entrepreneurship? Over the next number of minutes, we're going to talk about the unconventional strategies that one might use to stand out in a world of sales, in a world of being an entrepreneur. Maybe using obscurity to your advantage, leveraging micro-influence, innovating despite constraints. Let's get into it. Robert, you work with entrepreneurs every single day. Marty, I'm going to start off with the first question and lob it over to you for number 2. But Rob, how can being obscure as an entrepreneur be an advantage to stand out in a sea of so many else, especially in the world of sales?
I dropped a post about this a few days ago about embracing what makes you different. The problem that a lot of people see on their feed on LinkedIn is people suggesting they do things their particular way. So then you end up producing a load of clones, right? A load of people that aren't being themselves. And that's not going to work, because if you try to copy other creators on LinkedIn and sell in the same way as them, when someone bites and eventually wants to speak to you about becoming a client, the house is going to come crashing down, because they're going to realize you're not the person they're seeing on the feed or the person that's been pitching them. You're someone completely different. So it's actually being different is just being yourself, and being yourself will get you clients, because then there's no nasty surprises when you eventually have to have that negotiation with them. And LinkedIn on the feed, I see it a lot. Again, I don't mind. I can't DM everybody and say, look, I wouldn't do this. This isn't you. But I do feel like sometimes saying to them, I know this isn't you. You've seen this somewhere else and you've just twisted it a little bit and you've pumped it out there. If someone replies to that and starts wanting to speak to you about business, you're not going to be that character. Do you know what I mean? So lean into what makes you different. If you're an introvert,
Marty,
if you're shy.
No, absolutely. A lot of people say, when it comes to entrepreneurship, like, this market is saturated, so I don't want to hop in this business or hop in this career. How do you feel about a market being quote unquote saturated? What's your take on that? And how can someone avoid that feeling?
Well, look, first things first, nothing's original anymore. So whatever idea you have has been done before, and it's been done like loads of times before. And loads of people are still doing what your idea is. Nothing is unique. So if you embrace that, your focus should be about how you look after people, your customer care. I've got some clients now that I've dealt with. This is their 22nd year of dealing with me. So I know these guys. These aren't clients anymore. They're friends. So when they say people by people, I think that's absolutely, that's true. That's 100% true. And we've got to be careful, particularly small business owners that are just starting out, not to be tempted, not to be themselves, because it won't work. It's like a recipe for disaster to try and be somebody else. So yeah, whatever idea you've got has been done before. You have to accept that.
Yeah. Rob, we are being inundated in a world of AI generated content, text and imagery and videos everywhere.
And images, right?
Yeah. And being fake has never been easier.
Yeah.
Building trust and building transparency as a salesperson has never been more important. Yeah. I know that when people come knock on my door and pitch slap me with, they DM me, and then all of a sudden they're just pitching me something, my response is usually, who are you?
Yeah.
Because we live in a world now, Rob, where we have the ability for you to get to know me over time. Yeah. And I don't know why people don't take the time to do that. How different is sales today, Rob, than it was maybe when you and I were growing up, where I grew up in the world of Xerox, right? Knocking on doors. Now, cold calling is very different, Rob. Talk about cold calling in 2024 and the value or lack of value with it.
Firstly, I used to do office equipment back in the 90s. So actually,
same thing. You get it.
Right. Now, when it comes down to selling, there's a trust to consideration metric, right, in sales, which is basically, I'll give you an example. If one of your best friends sent you a WhatsApp right? And that WhatsApp just said, $995, dude, check this out. It's amazing, with a link, right? Now, if
Yes.
that's your best friend, you're going to open that link.
Yes.
And you're going to consider whatever it is, right? Because that trust to consider what it's called is full, because you've known the guy 20 years. So all he said to you is $995, dude, check this out, and a link. You don't even know what it is, but you're opening the link and you're going to consider it, right? The problem with LinkedIn and with sales in general now is everyone wants to rush from point A to point Z, like super quick. And they want that bar to be full. I'm afraid it's not, because the minute you connect with someone on LinkedIn, they don't know you. So you're going to send, if you send them a DM with an offer on, that trust to consideration bar is 0.
Yes.
Right? You might look, but I doubt you will. It will just get ignored in noise. Whereas if you bear in mind a friend of 20 years bar is full, you're looking at whatever they send you. So you've got to get that bar up to 30, 40, 50% before you even send a DM. Yeah. And you can do that by being yourself on the platform and by posting and sharing your character and having comments. Comments are gold, by the way. If I was in sales now and I had my time again, man, comments would just get smashed, because if people are commenting on your content and you're then having a conversation with them, you've then got your trust bars getting filled up over every single conversation you have. When you get to a point you want to send a DM, they're not going to take offense. They're going to look at it and they might be polite and say, dude, you know what, this isn't for me. But look, thanks so much for sending. You've got to build that bar, that trust bar of consideration up, because there is no shortcut.
This topic's fascinating to me, Rob and Marty, because I still see people today, I'll use the word, just spamming the inbox. Hey, Rob?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that just somebody accepting that, no, I don't agree with Rob, I'm just going to spam because I know sales is a game of numbers. I used to sell photocopiers, and I know that if I knock on 100 doors, Marty, that 88 are going to say no. I'm going to throw 12 into the funnel, and out of 12, I'm going to get 2.
There's an element of truth to that, by the way. You can spam 1,000 people and you can probably get a bit of joy from doing that. But if you want to build a reputation and you want to get clients, there's a difference between an order, like a sales order, and creating a client, right?
Yes.
If you want to create a sales order, go spamming everybody and process sales orders every day. But these guys will run away from you just as quickly as they came if you don't look after them. Whereas if you actually want to take the time to nurture a relationship and then approach them, the foundations are way stronger, way stronger.
Yeah. Marty.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say too, I feel like when you spam people like that, that just comes off like super salesy and it's not genuine, and you can feel the energy. So I get that a lot on. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, it is super salesy, Marty. It is.
Yeah. No,
go ahead, Marty.
No, go ahead. You good? Go ahead.
Rob, selling without natural sales ability. Many people are like, I'm not a salesperson. I can't sell.
Yeah.
And you, like me, or even like Marty, who just were communicators, sales is just having the ability to communicate. Yeah. But Rob, talk about this idea of focusing on problem solving over selling, and leveraging social proof and testimonials and creating that low pressure sales environment. If somebody listening right now is going, what are you saying to that person, Rob?
Okay. I've, like I said earlier, I've not met anyone who cannot sell. And that's from 30 years of training people. So firstly, I think we can dispel the myth that there are people that just can't sell. I think everyone can sell. I think sales has changed. I think we are very customer care focused now, and we are about building relationships. I've got a history of cold calling. I used to cold call. Now that skill is hard. So if there's people out there that think, oh my God, I can't cold call, that's fine, by the way. You're okay to be, authenticity is key, but it's okay not to be able to cold call. That's a completely different skill. That's not sales. That's like a completely different skill set. Sales for me, if I'm talking to somebody, so I have someone come in who's never sold before, what I will say to them is, look, when you speak to someone, firstly, be yourself. Secondly, do not sell your product. Do not sell your product or service. Sell what you're going to do for the person. Yeah, because that is huge. So if you've got a service, you could talk about how good of a copywriter you are. If you actually speak to the person and say, this is what I would like to do for you. Yeah, that person then sees you as an ally. They don't see you as a salesperson. You flip it round. You say to them, listen, if I could work with you, this is what I would want to do for you, rather than this is my product, this is my product, this is my product, which is always how the focus used to be as to how great the product was. I think it's changed now. I think it's sell yourself and what you want to do for the person.
Yeah. Good morning, Sarvina. Thanks for joining us here this morning there, kid. Good to see you in the feeds. And Brooke, you're right, man. Authenticity is the absolute key. And again, a simple word that we all hang on. But let's pivot, Rob and Marty.
I wanted to ask one more thing, Keith.
Yeah.
Rob, talk about the psychology when it comes to sales. Like the more you talk to people, you start to realize these people are alike. They think the same, how they're going to respond, who's interested, who's going to object, just from the conversations, and you pick up on that after a while.
Yeah. So I find personally the psychology of it is people naturally don't want to be sold to. It's like we have a defensive mechanism that kicks in when you feel like you're being sold to. The way to flip that on its head, and I do it quite a lot when I speak to clients because it does work, is to give them complete control of the decision as to where this is going. So from like moment one, when you speak to somebody, you will use language such as, listen, this might not be a good fit for you. So they're not feeling like they're being sold to. They feel like someone is giving them an option to make their life better or to do something that's going to help them. So if you use language, don't use language like you'll be missing. Fear of loss is gone. Fear of loss selling used to be huge. I don't think it works anymore. I think people see through it a lot more. Whereas if you approach someone and say, listen, this might not be a good fit for you. So you're in fitness, for example, so say I was a PT and I said, listen, man, this might not be the right time for you, but I've worked with people like you many times. I get a buzz from seeing the results that they get. When the time is right, you can come to me and you can talk to me and I'll just be completely open, no sales. I'm just going to tell you what I do and stuff like that. You'll immediately, your guard will be down because you'll be like, oh, this guy's not selling to me, man. He's telling me how good he is at something. And I've got the opportunity if I want to do it. And that's huge.
Having a conversation with Robert Coe, sales expert, Jedi leader from the Star Wars Force, Seamarty Fit, myself. We're having the conversation right now about how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. If you're a salesperson, sales is the most important mechanism in your business. Without Sales Nation, your entire business doesn't exist. You can put HR aside, you can put operations away. You could get rid of your entire company if you have no sales. And Rob, it's funny because when I was growing up, people would talk about every other important piece in the cog of the wheel of the business. Yeah, but we have no sales. People just forget how important sales is. I really want to emphasize that one point. But Rob, before we continue our conversation, and we're going to bring Marty in for the Seamarty Fit tip here in a few moments, and then go into the second part of our conversation on sales and how to stand out. But Rob, the contrarian view about standing out in a sea of entrepreneurs, is standing out, Robert Coe, always the best strategy?
Standing out is that, yeah, it is. It does help. If you're different, it does help at the end of the day, because we know what it's like on the feed. If you scroll the feed on LinkedIn and you're like, scroll, you're seeing 90% of the same stuff over and over again. So it's the 10% that are a bit different that you stop on and you read and you engage with. And so, yes, you've got to lean into what makes you different. As we said earlier, that's massive in sales. You've got to lean into what is different. And some of the best sales reps I've actually worked with and seen are, if you met them, they're a million miles away from what you would consider a salesperson. Introverted, shy, quiet, but they embrace that when they're pitching. They're not over the top. They're not using language that isn't their own, which is just massive. I watch these videos of sales training from the 90s and early noughties and stuff, and it makes my skin crawl. But anybody starting a business now, they cannot sell this way. It's just brutal. So listen, do stand out. Whatever your personality strong points are, lean into them. So if you're polite, charming, sweet and nice and shy, then that's how you're going to speak to people, because that's who they're dealing with.
So go here with me, Rob, because I suspect we're probably similar in age, and Marty is a couple of years younger than us.
Yeah.
Is sales ultimately I hate to say it, but is it the obvious generation differentiator? Because I'm selling different. You and I have learned, you talk about those 90s or 80s sales processes, right? We cringe looking at them. Like when I go in and sell and Marty's like, Bilous, you're actually selling that way? Like, is it one of those things where you're like, oh, there's the old guy doing his thing?
Listen, I mean, everyone sells in their own way, and that's important to stress. So there are people that sell harder, and that's how they sell, and they probably do very well from it. The problem I have is that everyone wants to be that person. not everyone can be a hardcore closer. I remember years and years ago, friends of mine, we would set ourselves challenges, which is to close a deal without mentioning the product, or doing something crazy on a phone call because you've got complete faith in your ability to sell something. That sort of skill, yes, I think that sort of skill will phase out. I don't see the old style of telesales is going to phase out because cold calling isn't really rock and roll anymore. And I think kids that are in school now, I say this to everybody that will listen, that they should teach sales in school. Like, they should teach sales in school, because
I
that's my
agree.
that's my opinion, is that if they dedicate an hour a week to teaching kids how to communicate, negotiate, and sell. Some people will be, oh, you can't teach. We don't want a whole generation of people selling to each other. People selling to each other, because these guys are going to want to start their own businesses and stuff. And if they're leaving school with absolutely no idea of how negotiation works. So yeah, there you go. That's just the ability to negotiate.
No, but you're right. And I'm going to ask you as a closing question here in a moment, but it's fascinating to me, Rob. We talk about business and we talk about all these business schools and these business courses, and kids go to high school to learn business, but we don't learn about sales, which is it's the foundational part of a business.
Yeah. Yeah, this podcast for me isn't about offering a fix to somebody. I'm not going to fix somebody in an hour as to how they can sell and make loads of money doing what they do, right? The point of this for me is to say to people, I've seen businesses fail that shouldn't have failed. They're good businesses and they're good services. The only reason they've failed is the person that started the business hasn't addressed the fact that they need to exercise their sales muscle better, because it is everything. If someone listens to this and they think, man, I've got to get better at sales, then that's his job done for me. If one person thinks I've got to get better at sales, I'm going to read a bit more. I'm going to follow a few more people on. There's some amazing salespeople on LinkedIn. Follow them, learn from them, and put it into practice. That's the key. Don't just feed your brain with loads of knowledge. Get on the DMs, get on the emails, get on the phone, practice your pitching and it's like riding a bike. When you learn to ride a bike, it is a nightmare. You fall off. But you know what? Once you learn to ride it, you're done for life. Yeah. Sales is like that. I've seen the penny drop with people that I've trained. And all of a sudden, when the penny drops and they can sell, they're like, oh man, that wasn't that hard. And it's like, no, not really. You've just got to know what keys you need to unlock the doors. It's different for everybody, but you've just got to work the muscle like seriously hard as a new business owner and not neglect it, which is what everyone's tempted to neglect it, because they just want to create sales funnels and they get sold ideas of, if you just have a nice landing page or a great pitch deck, you're going to make loads of money. It's like, you're not, because at some point it turns from a offer to a negotiation to a deal, and that's going to take sales skill, and you have to exercise that muscle.
Yes, absolutely. So nation, there's our conversation wrapping up with Robert Coe on how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. Coming up in a minute, we get the Seamarty Fit tip. And then we're going to dig into from sleep to success, how to start your day like a startup entrepreneur. Rob's been doing it for a couple of years here. We're going to get into his morning routine, the things he talks about with his agents and people he works with, and how they successfully start their day. But Rob, Marty, one quick last question regarding our last conversation. One nugget, Robert Coe, that you would give somebody as they're listening right now, how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. One nugget.
Oh, mate, that's a tough one. The only thing I would say to him is, well, for one, if you're watching this and you're not engaging on LinkedIn, that's a big one, without question. Get yourself out there and build your own personal brand. Get yourself out there, get people to understand who you are and what makes you tick. Because then when you pitch them and you basically just got to be yourself. I know that sounds cheesy and you read it all the time, but don't pretend to be somebody else. Use LinkedIn, use whatever platforms you want to put your personality out there. And then you start pitching people. And going back to that trust bar of consideration thing I spoke about earlier, please don't. The biggest piece of advice, actually, this is the big one. Don't ignore that bar. Have that bar in your head all the time. Before you hit that send button, how far is my bar filled with this person? Yeah. If it's at like 0 or 1%, do not send that email. Just wait like a month or two till you've had a few conversations with these people. Even if you get up to 10, 20%, going back to the whole, your friend sending you a WhatsApp and you opening it without prejudice or even thinking about what the hell the link is, you're just opening it because of who it's from. That's your focus.
Yeah. We're filling the trust bar with sales and entrepreneurship with Robert Coe. And I'll tell you right now, we're going to fill the trust bar. Oh, yeah. If you're looking for some fitness tips, this is the fitness tip you want to hear from Seamarty Fit, the fit tip of the day, my friend.
Y'all know exactly what time it is. Let's get the fitness tip for the day, all right? Achieving any audacious goal starts at the gym. Let's talk about it. The benefits of a consistent workout routine goes beyond fitness. It's the foundation for success in every other aspect of your life. Here's why. Improve sleep quality, boost your energy levels, builds discipline and structure, promotes better decision making, strengthens your immune system, can be effective if you're sick, reduces stress and lifts your mood, can't be effective if you're in an irritable mood, right? Getting on everyone's nerves around you. Provides a daily sense of achievement. Achieving any audacious goal starts at the gym. Get your fitness routine right, and everything else falls into place. Stay committed, stay disciplined, and watch your life transform. That's the fitness tip for today.
There he is, the fit tip of the day. We drop it every single day, nation. Give you guys something to consider with our accountability check-in and the fitness tip of the day. Give you something to wrap your head around, to get excited about, to maybe move you in the right direction today. So Seamarty Fit tip every day here, Monday to Friday, mornings in the lab with Keith, Seamarty Fit, and everybody like Rob Coe. So now we are going to move our conversation to entrepreneurs. How to start your day like a startup entrepreneur. Do you ever wonder how top entrepreneurs kickstart their day for maximum productivity and success? Let's talk to Robert Coe, how he's been doing it for 500 years, because he is Yoda.
Do you know what? When I saw this was on the subject list, I did have a smile and a laugh to myself, because I'm about to upset an awful lot of gurus on this platform when I say what I say.
We condone that here.
Yeah, it was funny. I read it and I was like, oh, okay, I'll roll with this. I'll see where this goes.
Exceptional. Go for it, Rob.
I get up between 6 and 7, like no set time, just whenever I get woken up by the dog or the youngest child or one of the cats. I live in a bit of a zoo, so I get woken up by something. I don't need an alarm clock. The gym is big, man. I'm in the gym at 8:30 in the mornings, and I'm doing 45 minutes in the morning in the gym. And I have a strange relationship with the gym. I get hooked on it for months and months, and then, like everybody, I'll have a dip where I'll have a day or two off, and then it'll be like a week, and I'll be like, oh my God. And then it becomes a habit, and it's a nightmare. But no, every morning, 45 minutes in the gym. And coffee, man, just lots of coffee. I have a lot of coffee, really, and tea. But yeah, other than that, there's no ice baths, and there's no like 4:30 rises for me. And when I read that on LinkedIn, I'm like, should I feel bad about not getting up at 4:30 and having a 10-mile run and an ice bath? But no. So yeah, I just get up when I get woken up by. I wake up when I get woken up by another little small living thing, and then I'm up.
By any small living thing come crawling on your body,
mate. That's not far off the truth, dude. That's not.
So establishing a consistent wake up time, Rob. You just said that you get up when you get up. Like you're not too neurotic on, I got to be up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5. You've been around long enough on this planet where you're like, no, it's time to get up and time to get going. Eh?
Yeah, 7 is a cutoff, man. 7 a.m. is it for me. I will always be up at 7, and normally it's about 6:30. Yeah. I can't lay in on weekends either. I don't know. When I was in my 20s, I used to be able to sort of lay in. That was probably because I was hammered the night before. But in my 30s, 40s, and now 50s, I can't lay in, man. I've got to get up as soon as I'm awake.
Are you a meditator? Do you spend any time meditating? How do you weave the mental practice into your life, Rob?
No, I don't meditate. I wouldn't. And again, I completely respect people that meditate. I 100% respect people that meditate. But if I see a post or a thread on LinkedIn about meditation, I will politely step back, because I don't want to be hypocritical. Say, oh, that sounds great, because I don't really understand. Mindfulness is big for me. Like I went through some tough times probably about 10 years ago, and I decided to read a lot of books on mindfulness. So if ever I speak to anybody about my head's busy, life is stressful, right? I just say to them, read books on mindfulness. Just go out there and read 2 or 3 books on mindfulness. Try and control living in the now. Don't stress about stuff from the past too much, because you can't control it. and the future hasn't happened yet. So it's like, for me, it's not meditating, it's just understanding that all I can control is now, and I'm not going to waste energy on it thinking about it. I've read that we spend 5% of our time living in the present and 95% of our time living in the past or the future. That's mind-blowing. And children have this skill, like a lot of animals, until the age of about 3 years old, where they live in the present all the time. You take a 3-year-old kid to the same playground every day, and the playground is nothing special, it's just a playground, right? They get excited like it's the first time every time. They're like, this is the best thing ever. Oh my God, I'm at the playground. Then that drops out of them at 3-4 years old. It starts leaving them, and then they get bored because they're not taking pleasure out of being there. It's just like, we were here yesterday. So yeah, mindfulness, mate, it's big. I don't meditate, but you never say never.
You start today at the gym, you get up naturally. Mindfulness is important to you.
Yeah.
Fuel and hydration, those keys to moving ourselves through the day. Are you an intermittent faster? Do you eat regularly? What are some of the tips and tricks you'd offer an entrepreneur right now who's maybe struggling with their eating habits, and how you weave that into your life, Rob?
So I do weigh myself every morning, which some people find excessive, but it's just part of my routine. I just hop on the scale, see where I'm at. I eat fairly normally. If I have a cheat day, if I go out and have a big dessert, and I'm more than aware of what I've done, so then I'll compensate over the next day or two. I think most of it, people get really strange guilt when they eat bad food. What they don't realize is that guilt has no value whatsoever. You can undo that within a day or two, right? So don't beat yourself up because you're out having a dessert. Just the next day, just think, like, take it easier. You're not having a dessert every day. But yeah, no, I'm conscious. I drink a lot of water, like crazy amounts of water. The guys in the office laugh at me because I'm in the toilet every 2 or 3 hours because I just down water like crazy. But it's good for the skin, man, and it just makes you feel better.
Hey, Marty's a big proponent if he gets his gallon of water in a day. I'm chugging water all the time. Yeah. And Robert, I can joke with you. You hit your 50s, and man, those going to the bathroom just takes that much longer now too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Flow takes a little longer getting out of the tap.
No, I don't have, mate. I'm not going to get into details, but I tell you what. Weirdly, I've hydrated myself better in my 40s and 50s than I ever did.
Yes.
So I actually think a lot of it may not be age related. It may be because you're aware that you need to drink more water.
Oh, what it is? Oh, so you're saying, Bill, to stop drinking water after 10 o'clock at night, so I'm not getting up at 3 in the morning to pee all the time? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm
exactly what he's saying.
I'm going to stick with that theory, mate, for sure. But in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't water consumption for me was like, it just didn't happen. I all through my 20s, I can tell you now, I very rarely drank water on its own. I would have tea, coffee, a beer or whatever. But it's only as I got older I realized the importance of it and how it affects your mood. Like, it's crazy. If I'm struggling to solve a problem, I'll drink a big glass of water, come back to it 20 minutes later, and I don't know what the hell happens, but you just feel clearer. And that's me. That could be psychological for me. But if I'm having issues with something or I've got a brain block, I'll just have a big glass of water, give it 10, 15 minutes and go at it again.
That's valuable advice.
Health benefit, right?
It is, but you've also shared, Rob, that mindfulness is important to you. So as I'm listening to you speak, Marty, Rob's talking about, okay, when I get into a stressful situation, you have taken mindfulness over your life. So I'm hearing you say, yeah, I'm going into a stressful situation. I'm going to step back. I'm going to create awareness out of the moment. I'm going to go drink some water. Yeah. I'm going to assess it. And then I'm going to move forward. Yeah. That's pretty much what I've heard you say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much. Hydration is big for me. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it is part of the process of just stepping back and taking 5 minutes out. And if I'm doing that and hydrating at the same time, then that's all well and good. But yeah, the morning routine thing, dude, that did make me laugh when I saw that. I thought, what road should I go down here, man? Should I just peddle this lie that I'm up at 5 a.m. hitting the road and doing 5-mile runs? And I thought, no, I can't do that, man, because I'm downstairs making a cup of tea.
But the funny thing is, though, your routine, as you've explained it to myself and Marty, is quite relatable, and to many would still struggle with what you're doing, because you're talking about mindfulness is important. You're talking about getting your water in. You're talking about going to the gym. Like those 3 things, Keith and Marty, we're building a business on this. The trick is doing it consistently. And then when you get stuck, finding the courage to begin again. Yeah. And knowing that you can begin again and not beat yourself up about beginning again.
Yeah. I think people get hung up and stressed out. They stress themselves out sometimes, feeling they're not doing the right thing all the time, without realizing that actually tiny changes can make a massive difference. You don't have to be having ice baths or getting up at 4 a.m. If you make a habit of yours to say, I'm going to hit 10,000 steps every day, and I'm going to do that for a month, that's huge. And it isn't that difficult to do. You just take a couple of walks and it's job done. But I think people, and again, I'm not sure LinkedIn is super healthy for this, because you do sometimes see the way people are living their lives, and then you don't get motivated. Actually, you get a sense of guilt of, oh man, I don't ice bath, I don't do this, I don't do that. It's like, there is no wrong or right, really. Just, yeah. But my point is, small changes make big differences.
Small changes make big differences. As we wrap up our conversation today, his first time appearance on any platform in the planet, Robert Coe. What a great conversation, Robert. We talked about how to stand out in a sea of entrepreneurs. We talked about your morning routines that you think aren't substantial, but actually are quite relevant, because people, I'm telling you, man, people struggle with consistency. So just the fact that you're sharing your own examples, and just the reality of, no, I don't ice bath. And Keith and Marty talk about all the time that we don't ice bath either.
You'll be by yourself.
I'll be sending Robert Coe a plane ticket to join me in London. He'll be like, no, you're by yourself, Bill.
Yeah.
I can't stand the ice bath.
My other half does cold lake swimming. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how she does. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't do it.
Sir.
I don't
different
do
strokes for different folks. Everyone's into their things, and that's just not one of mine.
That's it. All right, we're going to wrap up our conversation with Rob. Dude, it was your first time. Was it as good for you as it was for me and Marty?
I enjoyed it, man. I talk a lot, and I apologize about that.
No, you did great.
But no, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I like you guys, man. You're top guys, and I wish you nothing but the best with this. And I hope it goes on from strength to strength.
Appreciate that.
He's a pro.
There you go.
Rob Coe, the pro.
Smarty, Rob, we like to show love through jest.
Yeah.
And I'm just, Marty, I got to look at Coe for a second here. Look at the dude. He's got a professional mic. He's got a headset. He's got nice camera. And then he's telling us it's his first time doing this stuff. I don't know, man. I'm wondering if he might be pulling the wool over our eyes a little bit. He sounds great. He's a good talker. The audio quality has been spectacular. Coe, I think you're full of BS, man.
It's not BS, man. I do sales training videos, man. That's what it is. See,
that's what it is.
That's what it is. I do sales training videos. Yeah. But no, you know what? There's one lesson from this for everybody quickly, because I know you're closing.
Yes.
Do something outside your comfort zone, because this is way outside my comfort zone, man. Like proper outside my comfort zone. Just do something different that's outside your comfort zone, because I might get into this, man, and I might enjoy it, and someone else might ask me on it if it's not been a complete disaster. Just do something that's different to you, because this has been I've really enjoyed it, and I didn't know how it would go. So I appreciate you guys very much.
I know that Danny Del Vecchio with Shake and Danny made a comment on LinkedIn there saying you're going to be in good hands with us. And Danny's a solid guy. Danny's on the show a few weeks back, and Danny's always welcome on our show. But you do some work with Danny, do you not, Robert?
I've done work with Danny before. Mainly our relationship is pretty much on the feed. But yeah, I've worked with Danny, but he's just such a nice guy. There's loads of people out there. There's just, Nat's amazing. There's just, I don't even know. There's so many people on there that I
a lot of great humans. I love to give shout outs to the folks listening on the show, like Nat Berman, great solid dude, and Danny Del Vecchio. Hey Nation, if you need some video help, and video is taken off everywhere, got to go knock on Del Vecchio's door. He'll set you up. He'll get you set up with your videos. And if you need sales help, you go knock on Robert Coe's door. He's going to help you with your sales game. He's going to teach you how not to cold call like him and I sold photocopiers from 8,000 years ago. And he's going to teach you how to build relationships. And the one last tip I'm going to give you, Nation, is if you're going to come pitch slap me, don't pitch slap me. Don't pitch slap me.
Build up that bar first, man. Build up that bar first. Exactly. Then they can do it to you.
Exactly. And that's the key point, Nation. Build up the bar of consideration. Build the bar of trust. Come knock on my door. Come engage with my content. Come engage with Marty's content. And then when you feel the time is right, doom. Hey, Keith, I got something I want to share with you. Okay, maybe I'll pay attention at that point. But you just pitch slap us, we're just tuning you out in 2024. All right, gents, let's get out of here. The weekend is here. Our show is over. We'll see you guys on Monday. We got another big week, Keith Seamarty Fit. And then in 2 weeks, Keith and Seamarty Fit together in real life, creating content for you guys. So we're going to get out of here. Marty, we'll talk to you throughout the day, pal. I got a live Two Dads in a Lab show today here at noon Central Time. Di Manuel and I are reconnecting here after all of our kids have graduated and stuff. So we're jumping here today in the lab at noon. And then we're back Monday mornings in the lab. We'll see you guys later. See you guys. Rob, thanks for coming up, pal.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.